Hey, what's up, everybody? We're back. It's the Horror Flick Chicks with another episode of the Horror Flick Chick podcast. Hi, girls.
Hi.
Hello.
So, we are continuing with our recap of season 3 of Only Murders in the Building. This episode will be about episode 5, which is titled Love.
Love.
Very appropriate.
So, this episode we have there's a lot of romance in the air for our three main characters, Charles, Oliver, and Mabel. So I'm gonna start this off going into Charles's love dilemma. Pickle?
Pickle. I like pickle.
Love pickle. No,
Pickles.
not love pickle. That don't sound
No,
right.
Wow.
not love pickle, but
I'm just-
anyway.
Sorry. I'm gonna keep my mouth shut.
So, let's see. So, from the past, before this episode, Charles got engaged to his girlfriend Joy, who was the makeup artist on his show Brazos. So he's known her for years. He had a blackout moment, proposed to her, and after this, we find out. Well, she's possibly a suspect in Ben's murder because Charles and Mabel found the lipstick in his dressing room, which happened to be hers, and the lipstick was used to write "fucking pig" on the mirror. Yep. So we're still kind of seeing her as a suspect. So he has to figure out how to ask her about the lipstick. Oliver and Mabel are kind of pushing him to do it. He was supposed to do it a while ago already, and he's kind of nervous about it. But eventually, he on the side kind of try to ask her, like, what was your lipstick doing in there? And
he was trying to be indirect, but
yeah,
you can't really be
it's hard
indirect
it's
about
hard
that.
to
Yeah.
Eventually, he starts going into it, asking her questions, and she gets offended. Like, do you think that I killed him? And she gets very upset about it, and she didn't say no, but she's kind of going back and forth with him, like, how could you think I would do that? And
yeah.
So he trying to deal with the fact, because in season 1 his girlfriend or his love interest was the killer.
Well, that was the second season, no?
That was, yeah.
Was it? No, it was the first one. The second one wasn't the second one Poppy?
Right.
Second one was Poppy.
Was it?
Yes. Yes, she's right.
Okay.
Second one was Poppy. The first one was he had his girlfriend, or that ended up being the killer of
he knows how to pick them, those murderers.
Yeah.
So he's like, it can't be,
girlfriends.
You can't have another girlfriend that's a murderer. Like,
yeah,
he's very confused about this and he's trying to figure it out. At some point, Joy goes out for cake tasting,
yeah.
which they were both supposed to go, but she's just like, I'm gonna go. And she was upset about what he asked her. While she's leaving, there's a knock at the door. Who is it? Saz. I love her. So Saz is played by Jane Lynch. She was in season 2, and she was Brazos' stunt double on his show. And when they were doing the reboot of it in season 2, she came back as the stunt double. She did all his stunts and sex scenes and everything. I think that was hilarious. She's hysterical.
And I love her when she comes to visit him. She admits to him that she's dating his first girlfriend.
Yes, right. She's dating the first.
Yeah,
that's right.
Right.
She is so hilarious.
Oh my God.
And so while Joy is out, um, he kind of opens up to her and like, I think that, it's possible that Joy might be this, and Saz's like, there's no way. And she kind of tries to get in
Right, because she knows, because Saz knows Joy too, right? Because Joy used to work on
like,
brothels back in the day, so they all know each other.
right. So there's no way Joy could be the murderer. No way. So she tries to help him kind of figure out everything in his head about his love life, about his relationship, asking him questions, making it like a game show, asking him questions
Yeah.
about his about his relationship with Joy. And so her diagnosis, I guess, or conclusion is that, what is it? He's not in capital Joy or capital J Joy. You're in lowercase J Joy.
J Joy, yeah. Right.
She has very funny, like, little sayings and little ways of explaining things. That if you watch the show in context, it kind of makes sense when she says,
it did. Totally did. Yes.
But it's very funny. And so I think she kind of puts him at ease a little bit about her.
Yeah.
Anyway, Joy comes back, and he tries to kind of,
with all these cakes, by the way.
With a bunch of cakes. Tasty, so you can take
samples.
By the way, I didn't know Magnolia Bakery did wedding cakes.
Oh yeah.
Do they actually?
Yeah, they do.
Oh, okay. Wow.
Yeah.
I was like, if they don't actually do that, they're gonna get a lot of.
I mean, I remember them. I used to work close to the one. There was one on, was it Fifth? Not Fifth. Sixth.
Yeah, 6th Avenue.
Yeah, I remember that they did, but that was a long time ago. I assume they still do it, but
yeah, maybe.
Yeah,
I've never bought a wedding cake, so.
So Joy comes back, and they still kind of get back into the conversation about the whole thing. He's trying to, kind of apologize to her. And then they get into talking about the wedding or the engagement.
Yeah.
And Joy realizes that, wow, you didn't mean to propose to me.
Right.
So that just
that was really hurtful.
Yeah. So that just brings up a whole nother thing. And Charles's life is in such a mess right now. So, he has to figure out whether, he loves this woman enough to marry her and like kind of like cross her off as a suspect, or, follow the clues and to say, well, she could have still done this, and I have to figure this out and what I'm gonna do.
Well, I gotta say, like, I do think I do feel like Charles loves her.
Yeah.
I definitely don't think he meant to propose to her.
No, so he didn't.
That's for sure.
He didn't.
But I do believe her, because she did so towards the end of that little kind of segment, she does explain that she was in backstage,
yes,
at the show with Ben, because the brother had called her to come in because he had a mark on his face, and he wanted her as the makeup artist to touch it up, fix it up, so she was there. Right. So I actually believe her, because that's very possible that she did that, and she dropped something, fell out of her makeup kit, or she dropped it or something.
Right. She said the lipstick must have fell out while I was there.
Somebody else could have saw it and used it.
Yeah.
So I believed her when she said that. I don't know if that's the right assumption to make.
Yeah, I mean, she was
twists and turns, but
she was very believable and convincing. Yep. So it's very, very well possible that she
didn't do
not lying, and she didn't do it. Yeah. But again, who knows?
I know.
In this show,
she did end up leaving.
She did leave
and telling him that the engagement off, so they're not going to, get married. So, that's we'll see what happens with them in the next coming episodes.
Yeah, I hope they make up.
Yeah, hopefully she's not the killer and Charles can have his love.
Yeah. Yeah, so we also see another love story, quite a few actually, and it seems that Mabel is being called to do a stakeout with um Tolbert, who is played by
Yes.
Jesse Williams, the very fine Jesse Williams. And he asked her to go to this cabaret show. They're staking out Jonathan.
He has him as a suspect.
Yeah, he has him as a suspect. He's figuring that, who's the best murderer is like the understudy. The other study wants to get rid of the main actor.
The star, right. He wants to be the star, right.
So he's figuring that it might be Jonathan. Let me check him out. But then, Mabel's kind of like, she shows up, by the way, looking absolutely stunning.
Yeah, she looked great.
It's a cabaret show. So she was wearing a lovely dress and everything and makeup and whatever. And she gets there and she's like, you really think it's him? And he kind of like comes to this like conclusion which is like, yeah, maybe you're right, he's like a nice guy, he's probably not him. But anyway, I've heard him do like cabaret before and he's really great. So she's like, wait a minute, is that why you called me over here? I thought we were, staking someone out. And basically he's like, well, how else was I going to get you down here?
Yeah.
So, he
very smooth.
Yeah, very smooth guy. It's kind of nice. Anyway, so at some point, they're watching him and, they realize that he's like during one of the like breaks, he's got like somebody who shows up and is giving him an envelope. Very suspicious. Very suspicious. So he's realized.
And they're like 2-3 drinks in.
Yes, honey, she was getting her old fashioned on. Like I would
mezcal old fashions.
If I was it doesn't have to be him. Could be anybody, probably. Anyway, you get my point. I would be having my old fashions too. So they're on to drink number 2 and they're watching this guy. He's got somebody coming up to him with an envelope, very suspicious, trying to figure this out, like what's going on here. Who is this guy? So Tolbert is kind of looking at him like he's like, I think I recognize him. Anyway, so they eventually they make some sort of noise, as people do, and like attract their attention to the table. So they're like basically underneath the table, very close together and looking like they're about to make out. And it's either, you step up and you like kind of show yourself, or you just stay down there. And the answer is always stay down there. Just telling you. Take that how you will. I don't know why I turn out like this. Why am I like this? Okay. So anyway, so they're together at, trying to like peek up and see what's going on. And at some point, he sees them. He sees both of them standing up. And then at which point doesn't Tolbert like try to make a move on Mabel? And, they end up like,
well, this is like, because Jonathan and the mystery guy got up and they walked out of the door.
Walked out.
Like backstage or something. They left, and then they were leaving too. Tolbert and Mabel.
Yeah. So,
but then they ended up kissing, making out, and stuff.
Right.
And we don't know what happened after that. We could assume.
I think they might be hooking up. Just saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think so too. Wouldn't that be nice?
If she was smart, she would.
Yeah, exactly. And
But he could be a killer.
He could be a killer. So here's the thing. So he does go over to her place and realizes that she has like this, suspect board.
She showed him
like one does, like a good detective.
Right.
Stringing with strings and names attached and everything.
Yeah.
So he's looking at this board and he sees his name there and he's like, really? And she was like, sorry, you just, you seemed really suspicious that day. Anyway, turns out that he just kind of was like playing it off. But I have to tell you, there's something about him that I am really suspicious of.
Yep.
I think that in this episode, you know how they try to throw you off and as they do in every episode, but they try to throw you off and they really make you think that it's one person or two people or whatever. So anyway, we're going to talk about the suspect list later, but I'm just saying he's on the top now of mine. So anyway.
Yeah, he's been on my list since the beginning. But that it's real strange. I mean, we could talk again, we'll talk more about the suspect. Maybe I won't mention anything until the suspect.
Yeah, we'll talk about it at the end.
Portion of this episode.
I have to put it out there because I just did.
Yeah. No, I'm with you.
Anyway.
So then we have Oliver and his love interest Loretta, right? Loretta, played by Meryl Streep. She's back in this episode, and last episode we saw Oliver calling her and asking her out to dinner, and so the dinner happens this week, and she decides to cook for him in her apartment, which is after I was watching her again, I was like, because she wears those two braids, the long braids, and I was like, it's kind of weird. Like, how old is this lady? And she's walks around with braids all the time, and even for a date, she's wearing. I'm like, that's a little weird.
It's like a hippie.
Yeah, a hippie, but I mean, on a date, I don't know. I thought it was very, very odd. Anyway, he goes to her home, and she has this very eccentric apartment with lots of different kind of artsy things. Artsy things all over her apartment, and he's that way too, right? So I think that's what his attraction is to her, that she's about the arts and knows the arts and everything, and he likes that about her. So he's there, whatever, she's trying to cook and everything, and she burns the pork chop or steak that she was making.
Pork chop.
Yeah, the pork chop and everything, and they were he's trying to cut the steak, and it's like I was watching it. It was like a Three Stooges like short, like when they're eating, you think they're eating a piece of fish and it's like wood,
it's like rubber or something.
And they still eat and try and bite it and stuff. That's why it was funny. Like they have that humor on this show. It's very old school, but it like translates very well.
Oh, right.
In this,
I was just thinking that.
Yeah,
it's just thinking.
Yeah. Because it looked like a bit, like you could see in some kind of like old, so it's kind of funny. And then he takes a bite of the food, and his tooth comes out. So the rest of like the episode, he has like one tooth missing, like almost right in the front, and he's smiling like all the time, and you see it's kind of funny.
I like when he whistled. He went, he whistled,
and he whistled to the thing.
Also, I just want to say, she was like complaining about her stove, that she's never made the pork in her stove, but she baked it in her microwave.
Her microwave was broken.
This lady is crazy.
I thought that was
she bakes a pork chop in a microwave.
She's eccentric. She goes on these like kind of auditions and stuff all the time. She's an actress, so she probably doesn't even cook. She eats on the go at diners or picks up stuff along the way and everything. So she's probably not used to cooking. That's what I was thinking. And the fast way to do stuff is in the microwave, and that's probably why I'm thinking. But they, the dinner was like a fail, so they ended up going out and they went on the ferry, sailing.
But you should talk first about their conversation at dinner.
Yeah, so they had during dinner they had a conversation. They were talking, and then she started talking about she was talking about how she always admired Oliver, right? His work and his shows he's done in the past and things like that. And she's in that industry too, so she knows him very well. And then she started talking about Ben.
Yes.
And then she was, again, you could tell that she doesn't like him because she didn't like him.
Yeah.
And then she starts talking about him, and then she goes and says, "Oh, he's a fucking pig." And Oliver,
Didn't she say she called him a fucking pig?
yeah, she said
Yeah.
he's a fucking pig, and then she said, "I told him that, something like that."
Yeah, right.
And Oliver's ears perked up,
Yep.
and he's just listening to her, and she's just
His
talking.
ears, his eyes, he
Yeah,
was
everything.
like, whoa.
And
oh my God.
he's just listening to her talk, and she's like keeps kind of talking about how she doesn't like him, and then she starts saying how kind of in general, he wasn't a liked person and stuff like
Right.
that, and whatever. And then obviously there was fucking pig was written on the mirror in his dressing room.
Right.
So
and when she was talking about it, she was real intense about it
oh
too.
yeah, she
Like,
was like,
it wasn't just like talking about it in passing, whatever. Like,
yeah.
oh, I called him that. I called him a fucking pig,
Well, it's the
whatever.
same way that she was in the first episode,
Yeah.
when he had died,
Right.
and when he came back and everything, and they were in Oliver's apartment,
in the
everyone, and
apartment.
she said he's an asshole or something, and she just
He
walked out like
Right.
mad. So she definitely doesn't like him.
She hates
And
him.
she
Yeah,
made it
she
clear.
hated him.
So, with this information, Oliver stayed with her. He has a thing for her. So they go out and they go on the ferry and they're sailing around, New York and talking. And she's talking about, kind of a childhood and everything. Oh, wait, in the apartment, Oliver finds a book.
No, that's later though.
That's
After
later.
the
That's
ferry.
later. Okay. So they're sailing around and they're going, on the harbor, and they're talking and they're chatting about childhood, blah blah blah.
By the way, super cute date. I might have to.
It was cute. I thought
right
it was
off
so
of
cute.
that.
I thought it was so cute. Yeah, I think that's so cute
One of my little
together.
dates.
Like, as long as she's not a killer, I think they're cute together. But so they're in the harbor, whatever, and they're talking. And it's real nice and cute. And then, at the end, they kiss at the end of their.
Wait, hold on. But
Wait.
don't forget to talk about the weed.
About the weed.
Oh well, yeah.
From the 70s or the 80s?
That was great. It was like from the 80s.
She has a
or
joint,
something.
and it was like from I don't know, decades ago. And she starts talking about some party.
It was rolled in like purple paper.
Yeah, it was like streamer, or thing.
No, well, it was just purple. They didn't say that first. It was purple paper, and then she started explaining where she got it. And it turns out that the person that she got it from at the party that she got it at, Oliver was at the same party and knew that person. And he said in that party, he rolled like 10 joints with this purple streamer that was there. He said, I think that's my joint that I rolled.
Yeah. Right.
That was great.
It was meant to be.
It was like meant to be, right. So
they were both getting high on the boat.
Right. So they're talking and smoking the joint and all that, and laughing and having a good time and everything. And then they, connect and they kiss at the end.
Yeah.
And then they decide, they're going back to her place. So they go back to her place, and then you see them there in bed. And she gets up, and then he gets up and he's wandering around the apartment, and then he sees this book. She has a lot of shelving with bookshelves and a lot of books, different things. And he sees kind of like a photo album, I guess it looks like.
Yeah, or scrapbook.
And he pulls it out, and he's looking through it, and it's all articles clipped out about Ben.
She's obsessed.
Yeah, articles and pictures.
And pictures, articles, from newspapers or whatever, from shows, premieres, things like that of his. And he's just kind of flipping through them. And I think, I don't know, we'll see next week, but if that's not a red flag, that's kind of like odd. That, and the fact that she said fucking pig and that and everything, very suspicious. Very sus.
Yeah.
I guess at this point we can get into our suspect list. And again, this is another one that I always thought from the beginning could be a suspect, Loretta. So she's still on my list, even more now because of this new information. I guess next week they have to the three of them have to get together because this episode they weren't together. So they have to get together and compare
notes,
they have to compare notes exactly and stuff. So
I wonder how that's gonna work.
The next one we'll see what happens there. But Loretta's still on my suspect list because of all the reasons from that I said before and these new ones from this current episode. Tolbert is on my suspect list still because of what I thought before and because I think he is manipulating Mabel and using her to get information about like what does she and the guys know about like what I did possibly.
Right.
And he's trying to, and he probably went to that cabaret thing for Jonathan to throw her off and say, it could be him because of this. So he's still a question mark for me, but he's definitely on my list.
I didn't think about, I honestly wasn't thinking about him as a suspect. In this episode, I didn't think about it, but that makes sense what you're saying.
And then the last person I have on my suspect list is Saz. Because I think this is my thought.
That is a good one.
Because I'm thinking that she's Charles's stunt double, right? She was Charles's stunt double. She's back. She's still in their life, right? She has influence from Jan, who is his old girlfriend, who was the killer. So that's one.
Oh, that's true.
And she has.
I did not think of this.
And she probably still wants to be like kind of like she wants to be Charles, like she wants to be in his spot or something.
Yeah, like
some way she wants to be involved in that, and she's doing this to get people out of the way. And Ben was like mean to Charles, and they didn't remember. Yeah. Ben didn't like.
That's right. Ben did. That's true.
So she's on my list now.
Oh,
okay. That's a really good one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I have Loretta. I feel Loretta like back on top because of this episode. Like this was really, it was a really intense scene with her talking at the dinner table about Ben and her hatred for him, and just the way she expressed it. It was like really intense, and obviously the psychopath scrapbook that Oliver found is a little spooky. So she's definitely Joy is still on my list, but she's lower, I didn't have anybody else. I was, like I said, I wasn't really thinking about Tolbert, and I definitely didn't think about Saz.
Joy's still a possibility, so I'll give you that. But
so that's
I believed what she said, so
right. But she's still on it, but she's like kind of lower on the list. That's the only one I really had now after this episode.
Yeah. Okay. So mine, as I told you, Tolbert is up there now because I'm just like, even though there was nothing coming at him, I just feel like there's something weird. And I still have Kimber on my list, even though she was not at all a part of this episode.
Okay, yeah.
Jonathan is a very good option also, but now I'm kind of like shifting to Loretta as well. So all of those. I just want to say all of these episodes have been so like fantastic.
Yeah.
And there were a couple of things that I just found I literally laughed so hard at. One of the things was when Oliver sees Mabel in the elevator and he's going for his date with Loretta, and he's like, I may dip my quill in it's been a while since I've dipped my quill in a woman's ink pot.
Yeah.
Any new moves I should talk about? And she's literally like, and she's like, we do not need to talk about this. The other thing was Saz, when she was making up like illnesses, and she's like, you have MGDS, murderous girlfriend deranged syndrome. It's rare, and I made it up.
Yes.
this show is just like Sonia said earlier, like, old school humor, but still resonates, and
Yeah.
it's like
It
amazing.
still makes you laugh. And I also like when Saz, when she came in and she said that she was she was doubling for who? It was some famous person, action person. I forget. But then she went on the floor and she did the roll and then she came back.
Oh yeah.
I thought that was so funny. And she popped back up like
They're just so funny. So funny.
I look
Cast is
forward to
amazing.
Tuesdays to watch this now.
Yeah.
It's so good. Anyway, thanks guys. Thanks for hanging out with us again. Make sure you check out Only Murders in the Building. The streaming on Hulu. New episodes every Tuesday, and we're gonna be back every week, recapping the newest episodes. Make sure you subscribe to our channel so you can see all our episodes and watch our videos. Also follow us on Facebook and Instagram and Threads. And our podcast is also streaming on several audio platforms, so make sure you search for us and check us out and follow us. And as always, we'll be back next week with episode 6. We're signing off. This is Sandra, Sonia, and Angie, Horror Flick Chicks, and we'll see you next week. Peace, love, and horror.
Peace.
Bye.
That's the end.